Okay, so what's up there, guys, and welcome back to Dig It Detecting. So today we have a ripper of a site in front of us. This is a site that I've been at hunting for about a year now. So I've been here about half a dozen times over the last 12 months. The owners are wonderful people, have gave me full access from day one, and I must admit it's been a bit of a challenge, this site. However, it has gave up some amazing things. So just a quick rundown of the history of this site. Basically, it was built sort of 1850s, 1860s, what have you. There was an old homestead that sat right here in front of me. Originally it was bluestone and weatherboard also. Basically, behind me is a big old, or what was left of a big old wool shed. Nothing to see there now. And basically, I'll just get out in this wind here. It's a little bit cold out here, sorry, there's not much I can do. Basically, the descriptive content of this place states that the homestead sat here. Now, there's no remnants of it here now, today, and there is a reason for that. And it also states that there was some extensive outbuildings. They had stables, wool sheds, workers' quarters, all that sort of stuff. And it was quite, they were quite prominent people, quite wealthy people within this area. This is all sheep grazing. A lot of it still is sheep grazing today. However, the current owner has beef cows in here. So anyway, look, pretty much where I'm standing right now would have been the old homestead. We're standing on top of it. And look, I have no exact proof of that. However, this is sort of where it shows on the map. As I said, there is no building remains left here. And the reason being is because this area, this land, this settlement area later turned into soldier settlement. So after World War I, soldiers returned from war, and the government set up basically soldier settlement packages where you could apply as a returned soldier. You could apply for a parcel of land, basically government granted, and you would have to work that land and prove and make a return, make a money, and also pay off your government grant, your debt. So look, some made a real good go of it, others struggled to. I've read a lot throughout history, a lot of that history, early days settlement, and it's amazing. It really is. It's quite sad. Because a lot of these men returned from war and then, fought the first battle, come home, and then fought the second battle trying to make a go of living on the land, and it wasn't not easy. So you got to remember now, today, all the land's been cleared, fenced and housed and what have you. But back then, a lot of the time, the land had to first be cleared, then you had to erect the fences, then you had to build a house. Like a lot of these people that come out here early days, they were just living in little wattle and daub huts, shacks. So, really interesting history of this site. And what I was saying was the reason why there's no building materials left here or any evidence of the homestead is basically just because after the soldier settlement was first brought up in this area after World War I, 1918, basically a lot of the soldiers come to this site and collected everything that was here. So the bluestone blocks, the wood, the weatherboard, it all disappeared and went on to then be repurposed and build other houses, other huts. So I'm just going to show you here too. The grass is a little bit long, not too bad. In some areas it's sort of pretty high, and you've got that marshmallow weed. However, I said that I had no proof that the actual house homestead was here. However, we've got peppercorns, we've got fruit trees, big dead giveaway, and they're planted within a circular area. So that sort of tells me that, well, the homestead was in the middle. And then as you sort of wander up the back here, you've got another peppercorn there, big old pine trees at the back. So that's possibly where some of the outbuildings were. They wouldn't just plant them randomly for no reason. So they generally be planted for shade. So anyway, as you can see here though, this is some of the rocks and a few of the bricks. Just see one there. So look, this is probably also a dump that contains glass and bottles, I dare say. It'd have to. So a good way to cover it up, isn't it? I've never asked the owner to pick apart all this. Look, we've got even bulbs. Someone's thrown a heap of bulbs on here, and they've grown up in amongst the rocks. So anyway, look, that's something we can do another day. I sort of haven't pinpointed Yeah, it's got to be a rubbish dump. Big old metal bar sitting there. Anyway, something I can speak to the landowner about. It is very rocky country out here, so you wouldn't want to go digging holes. You'll just hit rocks. So I dare say they've probably discarded all their bottles in there and then thrown the rocks on top. Anyway, we're going to get the detector out, get warmed up because I'm cold, and see what we can find. I got a lady beetle on my shovel. Hopefully that's a sign of good luck today. Come here. Okay, so just while I get myself set up, I was just going to say about last night, you know, like I messaged the landowner of this property, and I have not been in contact with him since I think March this year. So it's been a good few months, you know, and like, you know, I've only been here for sort of 5-6 times hunting, and him and his wife, as I mentioned before, absolutely lovely people. Basically, upon hunting here those 5 or 6 times, everything I did find, I passed on to the landowners here. They weren't going to keep anything at the start, and then I sort of said, oh, you know, like, it's history to the site, it's history to your land. They have only owned the property for about 5 odd years, and they're not local to the area. However, I thought, you know, how special to keep all that sort of stuff, and so they did. And that's quite alright with me, as I've mentioned in other videos before. That's sort of how I work. If the landowner wants to keep it, that is fine by me. So anyway, but yeah, it's just nice, like last night, you know, to shoot through a message and say, hey mate, you know, it's Luke here. Could I possibly come out tomorrow? I'll be there at 10 AM and do a bit of detecting again. And I just got, yeah, most welcome. Come out and do what you want. So that is just there a sign of building good relationships with the people that you meet, and also doing the right thing and respecting the landowners that you come to their property and visit and detect. So you always do the right thing, and you're always going to get that response in future. Well, surprise, surprise, I've got myself an audience again. It just seems everywhere I go the cows love me, or they love detecting. Not sure which it is. Rightio, I've been going for about 10 minutes now. I've dug about 20 different holes and all rubbish. So I didn't film this one, unfortunately. However, I thought to myself, geez, that sounds like a coin. It sounds like a penny. And well, it is. I haven't pulled him out yet. I do believe it's going to be a nice old Britannia. So let's have a look. I can't see nothing. Yeah, it is a Britannia. Beautiful. Oh, lovely. Look at that. You know, and the soil out here, it is just, there you go, 2 wipes on the trousers, and we've got a beautiful 1886 Britannia penny, which, as I said, dates this site perfect, sort of 1860 up through to 1920 this site existed. And yeah, so that dates this site absolutely perfect. You don't find any modern rubbish here. I will say I've found a few Coke cans and bottle tops, but you know, pretty much nil modern rubbish, and just some nice old coins like this coming out. So very, very cool, very cool. So it is very wet out here too. We've had so much rain, it's not funny. Like coming out here today, there was just water laying in sheets across the paddocks along the roadside. We've had just a lot of rain, but as you can see, this soil here, it's very sandy. So it's sort of that loamy, sandy sort of black soil, very, very nice for digging in, and the moisture just passes straight through it. So generally what you find out here is anything, any coppers or silvers, or especially the coppers and brass sort of stuff, items, buckles and all that sort of stuff, it stays intact really, really well in this sort of sandy, loamy soil, as opposed to that rich sort of volcanic soil with all the minerals in it that generally tends to eat away copper and brass. So anyway, let's keep digging, and what I'm doing is I'm venturing sort of down this way, because if the mansion was up that way, I've done a lot of that. So what I want to do is sort of get more of an understanding of the site and go this way today and head down towards those sort of flats. So very interesting. Look at all the ground I've got to cover. It's endless, endless. So love it. I was just digging a target, and this guy wasn't him, but check out the size of it. It's a huge witchetty grub, isn't it? Massive, massive. I've not seen one that big for quite a while. He's huge. We'll put him back in the hole there. You know, I was just thinking with how windy it is coming off those flats there and racing up this hill, there is no way you'd point the mansion, the homestead, that way, would you? You wouldn't point it towards the wind, you wouldn't think. So I dare say it was sort of pointed that way, the front of it, and so we would be now at the back of it. That's sort of what I'm thinking. And I see this little sort of high section right here, perfect area that doesn't flood. That'd be a great spot for a stables or for a workers' quarters. So I'm sort of hunting around the back here because there has to be a reason for that peppercorn and those two big old pine trees. This guy's well over 100 years old, you can tell, and even up the back there you can see there's more big old pine trees, another peppercorn there. So yeah, really interesting. And look, as I said, I've been here for about a year. However, I've never ever sort of wandered up that way and over the back there. So I have, but not with a detector. So anyway, I do have a good signal here too. So I was just sort of standing there thinking, and look, that is sort of how you work out these sites. You've really got to understand them. So, you know, this could be a 36, 29, 36. It's jumping around quite a bit. I do think that's going to be something good, like a coin, or even a buckle, you know, like someone walking over to the stables here, if the stables were over the back here, and possibly dropped something. So let's have a look. I said this soil is so nice to dig in. Beautiful. There it is. You can always dig stuff out with your hands. So, you know, I'd love to hit on a bottle here too. It's one thing I've never done, is found a bottle here. So it's still something I'm yet to find. Wouldn't they be cool though? Some of the bottles coming out of here, you know, for the age, they'd be very, very cool. So there you go. Looks like a nice little decorative piece. I can't really make much out at the moment, so what I'm going to do, I'll give him a clean up and we'll come back and have a look together. Okay, there he is, all cleaned up. Got the trusty toothbrush out. It's got thread on the back, so not too sure. It's obviously a little decorative piece off something, whether it's off a horse tack or, look, I really don't know. What a great little piece though. So anyway, sounded like a coin, sounded like something good, and glad that we dug it. So we're going to keep working our way up to that pine tree, and then we're just sort of going to grid back and forth, making our way down onto the flats, so, and see if we have any luck. Okay, we are having some luck. 2 steps forward from that nice little decorative piece. We've got what looks like a little pendant or a coin. I don't know. It's like the same size as a 2-cent piece, and when I pulled it out I thought, oh, it's just a 2-cent piece. Hang on a minute, it can't be a 2-cent piece out here. And it's not. What is it? So I'm just trying to clean it up. Obviously a little pendant. It's got a little loop up the top there. Ore. Is that O-R-E? And a dolphin maybe? Well, that's a strange one. Oh, I'll zoom you too far out then. That's a very strange one. I've never seen anything like that. CM, GM. Let's give him one more wipe, and we'll put him in the pocket carefully, because you shouldn't really be wiping, like I do it all the time, I know, but you shouldn't really be wiping stuff on the pants like that, because anything that's on them, especially being out here in this sandy sort of loamy area, anything that's on them will just scratch the item. So I'm going to put him in the top pocket away from the other items, because I don't want him damaged or scratched. He looks like he's copper. So we are going to give him a clean up later on and try and ID him, because that's got me intrigued, very intrigued. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I said I wanted to find the old dump here, and we may have just sort of, oh look, you know, this may be an indication that we're onto it. Basically I got a target there. It was the old lid, so I dug that and attached to the back. I heard something jingling, and it was glass. So, and look, there's other bits of rubbish and stuff coming out there too. So we may be on to the old dumping point. It's funny because walking from the fence line there where my mates are, where the cows are, walking from the fence line down, I got no signals, and then sort of 2 meters that way it just started going, the detector started going off its head. So, and then we hit on this guy. So we're going to keep wandering along this area, and hopefully we could pick up on some bottles today. Wouldn't that be nice? And look, it makes sense too, because this is a very low lying wet area, so you know it can't be really utilized for much else. You know, stock grazing, what have you, building, you can't really do much with wet low lying ground like this. So hence why they would utilize it to dump their rubbish. So anyway, I've also got the bottle probe in my car, so we may even have to get that out and do a bit of probing later on this afternoon. And what a great area to do it in too, because as I said before, nice sandy loamy soil, so makes my job 10 times easier. Okay, so here I am in the low-lying grassy sort of swampy area that I just spoke of, and got a nice signal. I'm just sort of humming through here just really quickly, but check that out. A beautiful old padlock, isn't that lovely? It's funny, I've found one of these before, and at this site, and returned it to the owner. It's funny actually, because I found one half of it just like this, discarded, and then probably about half an hour later, and 20 meters away on the next run I was gridding that day, I found the other half, so we were able to match him back up. So what a pearler though, what an absolute beauty. And look, I dare say, as I said, we are in the rubbish dump, because you know, you got glass, you got tin. We found some more glass and tin just over here, I'll show you, which has sort of piqued my interest a little bit, and it's also got bricks and what have you. So there's a nice beautiful fragment of glass, another one. So I dare say a bit of tin, brick, more glass here. So yeah, that's the sort of stuff I keep an eye out for. Another brick there, a bit of glass there. It's all stuff that I keep an eye out for. Yeah, that will lead you on to the rubbish dumps. So, where did I put the detector? Righto, I might have the other half of the padlock. Wouldn't that be uncanny? I've only walked about probably 5 meters too, so, and in a really random direction. I didn't even go straight. So check this out. Oh, it sounds like a padlock, or half of a padlock. It could be a padlock, or half of a padlock. Let's have a look. You see that the soil's sort of changed here too as you sort of head down. It's starting to get a lot more consistently volcanic sort of. It's not that sandy grey loamy soil that we're finding up on top of the hill where the house was. So quite interesting, quite interesting. And there is some flat lakes down here that I'm sort of heading towards. Like this would have all been overflowing back in the old days, back in there quite a while ago. Yeah, we're in the dump. We are in the rubbish dump. Old harmonica. There you go. Woohoo! We've found the rubbish dump. Now we just got to locate some glass, because it's one thing to locate metal with a metal detector. It's another thing to try and find the bottles though. And I would absolutely love to find some bottles here, because you just imagine with the timeline of the site, there's going to be nothing newer, you know, from 1920s. It's all going to be from 1920s backwards. There shouldn't be anything newer here, so pretty cool. Bingo! He's done it! Oh, there we go. Oh, wasn't that nice? He's not complete. We've got a beautiful old ginger beer bottle. Oh, how beautiful is that? I just got a target and I just popped that hole. There's the target, a big old thing, brass thing. Once again, you can see all the ash and the burn throughout the hole. Yeah, look, we've done it. We've definitely hit on the bottle dump. Yeah, oh, there. It's only half a bottle, but that is a great sign. We keep plugging around in here and digging. We're going to find more. I guarantee it, absolutely certain of it. So we're going to take a bottle home today. How nice would that be? Plus a lot of rubbish. Look, there's another fragment of glass, and that old green beer bottle colour. So very nice, very nice. There's one thing I love, it's bottles. Absolutely love bottles. Toy marbles, toy Lesney cars, marbles and bottles. And you know what's really nice is I've just had a lady recently reach out to me and send me, look, 24 odd marbles. She just basically reached out through the Facebook group and contacted me through private message and said, hey, would you like these marbles, because I can see you're going to appreciate them, and you know, I'd rather pass them on to you. So that was so nice, so nice. So, you know, it's things like that, you know, it just blows you away, because you know, I don't expect nothing for nothing in this world. So when someone goes out of their way to do something so kind and so nice like that, it just also reminds me how kind some people can be. So there's still great people out in this world, and that lady's one of them. So very, very nice. And look, that's not all either. You know, I have other people send me out stuff randomly too, which is so nice, so nice. You know, I never asked for it, however, it's just so nice. So anyway, I'm gonna dig out this hole a bit more. Where there's one ginger beer bottle, there's got to be more. 21 barrels of beer on the wall, 21 barrels of beer. You dig enough holes and shake them around, you're bound to find more. Vinegar. Look at this little fella, my first intact bottle for this site. I'm getting excited, you know, because one thing I've been doing lately is just hunting a few bottles, not by purpose, but you know, like when I'm coming across these sort of sites and hitting on the glass, I continue to dig, and you can see why. You know, some of this glass work is just beautiful. I love my coins and relics, don't get me wrong, but I mean, aren't these relics too? Bottles, someone touched them and used them at one point, discarded them or lost them, or well, not so much lost them, but it's just so cool. And some of this other stuff you can find in the dumps too is amazing. You know, you just never know what's going to come out of these sort of places. And I don't even know if there's kids here or not. There's more of our ginger beer bottle. I don't know if there was kids here or not living at this place. However, there's a big sheep station, so there would have been quite a bit of activity here, quite a few workers living here helping run the farm. I should mention this place used to be 9,000 acres big. It used to be a big pasture run, 9,000 acres large, and as I mentioned at the start of the video, it was all broken up due to the soldier settlement. So, and that was the case with a lot of these massive pasture runs that were taken up by the early settlers. As more people wanted to settle in on the land, basically these pasture runs were divided up by the government and by the landholders, by the big pastoral run holders. And look, this is nothing. I know of one that I detect that used to consist of 28,500 acres. You can imagine trying to run that by yourself. You couldn't, it's impossible. So hence why they had workers' quarters, hence why they had teams of shearers and herders and all that sort of stuff come through. So, and look, that's where you get a lot of the travelling swagmen of Australia. You know, they would basically walk from season to season. They would walk from different farm to farm and offer up their services, offer up their work. So very, very interesting. God, I love this stuff, absolutely love it. Anyway, we're going to keep digging this hole out. As you can see, I'm just sort of widening it, and then I want to go down, so see what we can find. Okay, so I spent 10 minutes just digging that hole out. I haven't fixed it all up properly yet, as you can see. I wanted to dig down and just sort of see how deep they were burying the bottles, or whether they were just sort of trying to pack up this area, which it looks like they only sort of go down a few feet. So that might be really cool. However, it could also indicate that everything's going to be broken. However, anyway, we'll give you a bit of a look at what we pulled out just for the 10 minutes mucking around. So some beautiful old gold gilding glass there, and beautiful pattern and design on it. So, and as I said before, I know this is not coins and relics, however, how special are these pieces? You know, someone would have ate off these every night, or the maid or the butler would have been serving with these pieces to the landowners, to the pastoral run holders here. So you know, it really shows a sign of wealth. You know, I know this is a pretty wealthy place anyway, that the owners come from a pretty wealthy background, And then, you know, not only that, they made their wealth even further here when they moved to Australia. So very, very interesting pieces. And we've even got an old oyster shell. So that definitely shows a bit of wealth. I mean, we're a couple of 100 k's away from the nearest coastline here. So, I mean, they would have had to be transported sort of, you know, on ice by horse and dray or something like that, horse and cart. And, you know, that's a delicacy to have back in those days. I once researched an old goldfields township that sort of sprung up and disappeared within 10-20 years after the gold was mined out. And one of the hotels also had they served oysters there to the miners. Now, can you just imagine that, you know, having a belly full of grog and a belly full of oysters the night before, and then having to go out and dig for gold the next day? There would have been quite a few crook miners on the goldfields. However, you got to think too, they were a lot more used to it than what we are today. So, but you know, to have oysters, as I said back then, no matter where you were, goldfields or even out in an isolated farm like this, that does show some wealth. So very, very cool. Let's see if we can find a nice intact bottle. Okay, we all know what Luke's like. This has gotten out of hand. I've spent half an hour on this now. So this was my first hole that you've all seen come out, and the detector's still sitting there. I should probably turn him off, conserve the battery. Anyway, we wandered over here, and I just wanted to do a few more test holes just to see what was going on in this area. And keep in mind, everybody, we've been in lockdown for the last week and a half, so I have not been able to get out and dig at all. So as a result, I've been quite happy to dig today, and look at what we have here. So basically, same thing as what was over there. We've got the bones, we've got the burnt ash, another bone there, and we've got a lot of beer bottles. They like to have a drink of beer. There's 21 beer bottles on the wall. There's quite a few there, and nice little piece here. Now, nothing that's come out of here. Oh, I should rephrase that. A lot of stuff that's been coming out of here has this really, really pretty pattern design, colouring to it. You know, that was pretty common back in the day, but only common if you had money, you know. You don't find a lot of this sort of really, really nice glazed glass at the sites where obviously people just did not have the money. They might have had a lot of basic stuff instead. So we also got this beautiful internal thread bottle. I don't know what he is. He's only just got a bit of embossing on the top left, unfortunately. So look, the main aim though is not to dig bottles today. The main aim is to dig coins and relics. However, as I said, we all know what I'm like, and so that was one other pit that we opened up, and I thought, let's bunny hop over to the top of the hill, the very top of the hill, and well, we had a bit more success. So I just sort of thought, you know, being at the top, who knows, there might be, well, obviously this pit was sort of opened up, like you can see the hill that I'm standing on here. So, I mean, this is just a mound full of bottles, so they probably scraped a bit of topsoil off from this other area and just threw it on here just to cover the bottles, because literally as soon as you dig down with a shovel, like, watch this, glass, you cannot even get the tip of the shovel in before you hit glass. So only very, very lightly covered. However, this seems to be going down a lot further than the other dumps. So, and we've got some ripper pieces out too, including this beautiful little bottle. Now, I haven't even gave him a clean up yet to see if he's got embossing or anything on him. So we'll do that together, shall we? Have a bit of a look. Everything's got that real, oh yes he does, Davis. Oops, I made it worse. Everything's got that real, you see that? Davis, little medicine bottle of some sort. But everything's got that real sort of hazy, burnt look to it. And that's just because of the heat of the fire. So, however, we've got a couple of torpedoes coming out. That one had embossing on him, which is a real shame. He would have been lovely to have intact. And this guy was just a clean skin. However, it shows that, you know, shows some really good age here, as I said before. Same as this old bottle here. He's got RT and Co on the bottom. Not 100% sure what he was. We also had a little stopper. little glass stopper, which is cool. And once again, those fragments of glass with all that pretty colouring on them and design, you know, as I said, there was a bit of money here. Had a bit of money, these people, the Homestead and between the sheep estate and what have you. There was a bit of money running through their hands, I'd say, over the time. Oh, look at that, he's got vegetable written on the side. You can just see it. My gloves make it even harder to see, sorry. So he would have probably been like a little vegetable oil bottle or something, I'd say. What's he got on? Oh, there we go. Oh, vegetable painkiller. No, so he was a medicine bottle. Little Davis vegetable painkiller. There you go. It's amazing what they put into the mixtures back then. So here's a ripper. My first intact bottle for this site. You beauty. Okay, I think it's happening again. I think we've got another one. Oh, there's another torpedo base. This one here though, he looks like he's going to be intact. He's only a beer bottle by the looks. Let's pull him out. Oh, come on. Yes, he is. Oh, yes, he is. Oh, what a beauty. It's made my day. Really has. As I said before, when we first started hunting for the bottle pit, if we found it, everything in here would be good. Well, it seems to be everything in here is broken so far, but we do have these. Is that a marble? Oh. Oh. I thought that was a marble then. God, I nearly had a heart attack. Whew. Here I am talking about this old beer bottle, and there could have been a marble there. Wow. Wow, no, not to be. Anyway, what a ripper. See if we can find more. Okay, so we are still going. We're still plodding along. So we picked up the detector there and we sort of walked that way and walked over to a low-lying spot over there. Pretty much where, if I stand up, you'll be able to see it. You see where that water is there? My sort of theory thinking was, you know, if that was a real low, the lowest area, possibly they were throwing majority of the bottles there, and then even this hill that we were hitting on the bottles a second ago possibly come later. So as they sort of filled up that swampy area and moved their way back sort of closer towards the house. Just a theory anyway, but anyway, it's too wet to go doing too much over there anyway, so I didn't bother too much. So we come back over here and we had a bit of a dig. As you can see, we've got a nice little flask bottle out, and not only that, but I seem to have hit on a coin, a nice old penny. Now if you really look closely, you can see P-E-N-N-Y, penny, and you can see her there holding the set of scales. So very cool. You can't get anything off the other side, unfortunately. He looks like he's been hammered flat by something, so I dare say that was a little half penny, and it's possibly been hammered or mucked around with or whatnot. There's no train tracks near here, so it hasn't been thrown on the train tracks, but yeah, obviously mucked around, hammered and worn, and lost in the dump here. So it just was sitting up in that top corner. I just seen it and thought, what is that? And I pulled it out, and there we have it, a nice coin. So anyway, look, what I'm going to do now is I'm not out here 100% for bottles. Now I know where the dump is. I can always return to this another day. But what I'm going to do is just got me a little bit more curious, see if I can find like a torpedo or something, you know, something real neat. So, and look, I must say I need another torpedo bottle because my eldest son Xavier, for years and years coming out into the gold fields with me digging, he used to always pick up the fragments of torpedo bottles and say, "Dad, look, I've got a torpedo bottle. How cool is this?" And I'd say, "Oh, sorry, mate, that's not a torpedo bottle. That's just a bit of glass off something else or whatever it be." You know, he used to get so excited seeing any bits of glass, he'd just presume it was torpedo. Anyway, that's the only bottle he ever wanted. And one day we were hunting at an old house, and just so happened to be getting demolished, and we were looking under the floorboards, and lo and behold, we found a beautiful old gin bottle and also a torpedo bottle. Only a clean skin, the both of them. However, I turned around to Xavier. He was there that day with me, and I turned around to him and I said, "There you go, Xav, there's your torpedo bottle, mate." Well, being Dominic is the younger of the two, guess who else now wants one? Dominic. So I've got to find a torpedo bottle for my youngest son now, Dominic. So anyway, look, that doesn't have to happen today though. I'm just mucking around. Happy to dig holes because I haven't been digging for over a week. So we're going to do that. We're going to go grab the rake and we're going to see if we can spend one more hour digging and possibly unearth Dominic's torpedo bottle. There's one thing I always keep my eyes out for when I'm digging these bottle dumps, or two things: marbles and the old glass stoppers. You see we've got one right there. You see it? Oh, it's probably too dark to see. There it is, hiding at the back wall. I nearly hit him with the shovel. I went out for a stab and come back in for another bite and seen him there, and I thought, ah! And I quickly diverted the spade off to the left of him and saved him. So otherwise the spade would have went straight through the middle and cut him in half. So anyway, I just keep looking for him as we go though. I'm sure I probably dug out about 10 today and missed them. But anyway, I've got 2, so that's good. So check out what I just found. The old cobalt blue, not to be taken 8-ounce bottle. So poison bottle. What a shame it wasn't intact. God. If only. If only. That is my favourite colour glass. I don't know if you can see that there. The sun is blinding me. Yeah, that is my favourite colour glass to find. Like a lot of people. So, God, what a shame. Hopefully we can hit on one of these at this site in future too. That'd be amazing. So I was just thinking as I'm walking back to the car, if the mansion was up there where my car was, and we were finding all the rubbish down in this low-lying swampy section, and you know, as you can hear, the wind is just blowing a gale out here. Why would you put, if the mansion was there, why would you be dumping your rubbish there where you've got the westerly wind blowing that smell back into the house? It's a strange one. I'm just trying to work it out in my head. Like, you know, most dumps that you always find, they're always at the back of the house. However, if you've always got a strong westerly wind or northerly wind blowing towards the house, you're not going to go put your dump over there, are you? Where you bury bones and bottles and rubbish. Yeah, a bit weird, And not only that, when they lit the fire up to burn all the rubbish off, you would have had all the smoke and all the embers blowing straight back towards the house. So yeah, don't know, maybe that was a workers' quarters dump. Maybe if the homestead was here on this flat area here, maybe where that pile of rocks is down there, maybe that was the homestead's dump. So maybe there's more bottles and stuff down there, because as I said, I haven't even pulled that apart yet, so I don't know what lies there. Anyway, take a break from the wind and let's have some lunch. Rightio, we're back from lunch. That didn't take me long at all. I quickly threw down a banana and 2 sandwiches, and here we are back at it again. I've only got 2 hours left to dig today, so we're back on the detector. Anyway, we've got a piece of an old kerosene lamp. So quite nice decorated too. I haven't seen one like that with those sort of frilled edges around. Very nice. So I doubt we'll find the rest though. Righto, we're still plodding along in the dump, and we are using the detector. We're not looking for bottles. However, if they spring up, be sure that I will pick them up. But anyway, we've found this. It was a really high target, 3031, and basically it's the old lantern, part of the old lantern again. And what's really cool about this one is it's even got the old little buttons, the little dials and little faces on them still intact. You can see there the perfect duplex extinguisher, patent safety. So what a bloody ripper. They would have been turned to make the wick and what have you go up and down in the middle there. That is so cool. And look, we actually found one of those little white manufacturer buttons, dials, whatever you want to call them, out at Penny Paddock there only, what, about a month or so ago. So very cool. Ended up with the landowner, such as this one will, no doubt. I'm sure he'll want to keep that, especially with those little dials on the side. They are awesome. Okay, so here we are back up on top of the hill and where I presume the house was. So when I first come here, I'll just say, you know, like the landowner bought this property about 5 years ago, the current landowner, and he sort of pointed out a few things to me that he had found over the 5 years of owning this property, and basically just sort of tried to give me an understanding of this site. And he did mention, you know, mate, I think the house sat right here. And look, I agree 100%. And it's a bit of a shame too. He also mentioned that there was a bloke who lived across the road. He was, I think he passed on later in his 90s or late 80s, but he only passed away about 12 months before I come here, knocked on the door and asked for permission. And as the landowner, current landowner today told me, he goes, mate, if you had been 12 months earlier, you know, he said, I could have got that bloke to come over here. And he said he had grown up in this area since he was a kid. He knew where everything was. He knew where the stables, the wool shed, the homestead. He probably could have pointed me in the direction of the rubbish tips. It doesn't matter now, we found him. But, you know, like, he would have been able to lay it all out for me, spot on. That would have been really nice. However, it is what it is. We've just got to work with what we've got. And look, as I said, I do agree that the homestead's set up here. And the reason why I do agree with that is because on the maps and records, the very few that exist, it does sort of show that the driveway, there's a main road that way, and the road it shows that the driveway on the old allotment map comes in and sort of makes its way to the top of this hill. Now, if the driveway ended here, then I dare say the house was here, because where else would the driveway be leading you to? And look, these are sort of pieces that sort of back up and confirm all that too, you know. These real nice old cast decorative pieces. So I've dug a lot of these in the past since I've been here. You can see this one's got a little bit of enameling paint or something left over it on it, like a little bit of red and white, which is quite nice. So, but look, these sort of pieces here, they give you a really, or for me, they give me quite a nice understanding of what this house or homestead would have once looked like. You know, it would have been quite an elegant, quite architecturally designed house, and quite a pretty one at that. So very nice, beautiful flower piece. And look, these are not the first items of these that I've dug. So I've seen many of these before come out of here. The landowners have the rest of them up at the house there. So, but quite nice. And unfortunately, they ring in just like a coin. So you think you're on a coin and you're not. You're onto a bit of the old house, but you got to dig it anyway. And look, it's always nice to see it come out of the ground. So yeah, that's the whole point of what we do, isn't it? Digging up history. So there we go. We just dug two more out, and a little flower and a little spiral sort of design. So, and look, I should have mentioned before, these pieces I imagine would have obviously been decorative pieces for around the outside of the house, or you know, for around the eaves or what have you, around underneath. So quite lovely pieces. Yeah, you go to the old homesteads, still they exist today, and take note of the old cornices and decorative pieces on the roof of the house, or on the, you know, running along the gutter, or coming down along the veranda. Take note and you'll see what I mean. Beautiful. Right, so we've moved into another paddock now. We are running out of time, so I'm just trying to try a few more different things before we go. So we've got a target down here too, quite an interesting target. Looks like something brass and looks like something big. So let's give you a look. See it? Looks like a little hand or something. Looks like a little fist. See if we can get in there behind. I should mention too, this site back in the day, from what I've read, it had a very extensive garden. Amazing garden from what they state. Almost, what is this? Didn't win any awards or shows that I know of. That's an old door handle. Oh wow, look at the chain on it. Wow, what have we got here? This would have to be from the homestead. Look at the plate. So ornate, beautifully decorated like everything was back then. I'm not going to hit it on the shovel because I'll wreck it. Oh wow, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And you know, whenever I find stuff like this, it always makes me think about the people that come before me, and the people that turn this door handle time and time again every single day. Amazing. You know, even the person who twitched that wire on there to hang that chain, you know, here I am some 100 years later, holding it in my hands. Wow, I reckon I reckon with a little bit of persuasion, he would probably bend back and go straight back to where he should be in the center there. Although I don't know whether it's worth the risk, because you know, you go playing around with this stuff too much and you break it and you think, well, I've ruined it. So sometimes, even if it is bent, twisted or damaged, sometimes you're better off to leave it the way it is. Anyway, I'm going to sit that up on the fence post. It's too heavy for my bag. I've already got oodles of stuff in there and I've already emptied 3 times now. So righto, this is going to be our last target, because we kind of need to get out of here. We are going to run short on time. There you go, a little bit of lead, nothing special. We're going to run short on time though, and we basically need to get out of here and get moving. Well, wasn't that good timing? Check that out. We're just getting our first batch of rain for the day. So there you go. Well, let's not stand out in it for too long. That'd be silly, wouldn't it? Let's pack up the gear and we'll get home, and we're going to show you everything we've found for today. I forgot to turn the detector off. I think I got a target. Okay, so here we are, we're back home and we've got all our finds laid out, ready to give you a look. So we had a bloody ripper of a day too, you know, like I really enjoy being at this site, and I have not been there for months. So it was really nice to get back there. We did not catch up with the landowners. They actually weren't even home today. You know, we still got the go ahead even though they weren't there, which is nice, but we will catch up with them in future and we will show them a look at what we got today, and anything that they want to keep like we did last time, they are more than welcome to. So basically just give you a look through the rubbish here. Not too much to show. A lot of glass. We've thrown out majority of the glass in the bin already. This is just a lot of what come out of the pouch and got thrown in the plastic container for the day. And you know, just pulling these out a second ago, just reminding myself of bloody hell how many shotgun shells and you know, cartridges that we find at this site. You know, I think I dug about 20 old spent casings today. They're just everywhere. They must have done a lot of shooting at this property. So anyway, really cool. I'm sure there was plenty of rabbits to shoot too back in the day. So anyway, really cool. So we'll take you through to the good finds. We got the old patent safety, or the perfect duplex extinguisher, patent safety I should say. Very cool piece. And that other little handle there too, the browned off one, he would have said the same. You can just see duplex on it. He would have said the same, but obviously faded away. So very cool. And we actually dug one of those little porcelain handles not too long ago out at Penny Paddock, if some will remember. Very cool in another video. We had the old other kerosene lantern piece, decorative piece, and you would have seen the wick and what have you go up through the center there. So also dug more of these decorative items that were coming off the eaves and cornices of the house, I imagine. And look, as I said before, it gives you a really good understanding of what this homestead once looked like. You know, quite a decorative place. And yeah, I've seen a lot of these old homesteads in books and read about them. I've seen them up close. I've been in them, and you know, so seeing stuff like this, even though there is nothing visually there to see today left, seeing stuff like this come out of the ground really gives a great understanding of what this place once looked like. And the ornate and elegantness, if that is a word, of the building. You know, it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You do not put that sort of stuff on your house. Well, for one, if you don't have the money to, and for two, if it's not a grand structure, you know, if it's just a little shack or a hut, you're not going to be putting that on. So I dare say, I know that it was bluestone and weatherboard, I dare say it was pretty grand old structure that once stood there. So very cool, let your imagination run wild with that. So anyway, we got the old secure lever lock, door lock. It doesn't look very secure now today, and it seems like it's been in the fire. Very hot. That's brass, and that's all sort of melted and disformed at the top there. So anyway, the old belt buckle, nothing too spectacular there. She's just a plain Jane old belt buckle. The old window latch, window hook thing. Dug quite a few of those at the old schools, and I think someone from memory told me they're part of the old window latches. So anyway, we had the old Climax padlock. I did not manage to find the other half, unfortunately. Would have been great to to put it all back together as it once was, but we'll work on that another day. I'm sure it's there somewhere, we just got to locate it. So anyway, the little look, decorative item, I do believe, once again, as I said earlier when I found this, I do believe this is a little bit of horse tack, you know, decorate the saddle, the horse and buggy, what have you. So probably fallen off in the grass and lost forever until Luke come along today. Anyway, 2 glass stoppers, they come out of the rubbish pit, just keeping my eyes open. They were pretty much black when we found them. However, from the fire and what have you, you can see a little bit in the center there still. However, a bit of sand and a bit of those scrubbing with the green scrunchy cloths, they come up pretty well. So anyway, coins. We had the 1 penny Britannia, 1886. I was going to say 5 then. 1886 Britannia penny. Beautiful, beautiful. Queen Victoria on the back. As I said, a lot of these coins, they seem to come out quite well in this sandy, loamy soil, as opposed to where I normally sort of hunt out, you know, in the volcanic sort of mineralized ground. So we also had an 1885. That's 1885. 1 halfpenny. So very hard to see. Someone's had a great old time with the hammer, smashing and bashing him about, flattening him out like he's nearly the size of a penny. He shouldn't be that big. Anyway, we also had what really surprised me. I've done a bit of research now, so I know what it is. We were correct. It does have a dolphin on the side, and a couple of stalks of grass, I think it was, on the other side. You see the 2 up the top, and it's a bit hard to see because someone's punched a hole through the top, which is part of the 2. But it says 2 ore. Now this is a Swedish 2 ore coin. So what is a Swedish coin doing out in country Victoria, Australia? Very random, very random. If I get my steady hand on there, you can see the date just down the bottom there. See, 1889. Oh, I'm not very steady, am I? Anyway, it's 1889. There'll be a picture up on the screen there, basically to show you, and it's an 1889 Swedish 2 ore. So very random, very random. Cool find. Anyway, little button that come out of the rubbish, also keeping our eyes open. Basically, there's no straight lines in nature, and that also goes for perfectly round shapes too. There's not very too often that you find, you know, you're searching through those holes, everything's covered in dirt. However, if you just keep your eyes peeled, you'll notice that, you know, things stand out, they pop out, you know, coins, buttons, all that sort of stuff. It just does not look natural. So anyway, we also had this vase base, I dare say it would be. Very cool piece. The other few pieces of glass and plate and what have you, look, I always keep this, and I know I keep saying it, I always bring it home with me because one day I am going to make a mosaic tabletop, and it's going to look pretty cool because I've got a lot of glass now. I could probably fill a black garbage bag full of glass. It's crazy, I know. My partner loves it. Anyway, some of this stuff here, you know, how could you not bring that home? I'm probably going to, you know, hammer that piece out and use just that piece in my mosaic tabletop one day. That's just what I want to do. So anyway, last but not least, bottles. We all know how much I love my bottles. We had this little guy. He was a J&E Atkinson. Pretty hard to see, broken at the top, London, and his trademark emblem embossing on the base. Basically, he would have been a little perfume, little cologne bottle. Unfortunately broken though. So we had the little flask bottle. He's intact. Quite nice little bottle. He's a clean skin. However, what a great little bottle. Who does not love finding bottles from the 1800s? And look at the design. You know, these were all hand blown, handmade. Look at the design, really, really cool. So also this fella here, he's Davis vegetable. I don't know how well you can see that. Painkiller. I didn't give him too much of a clean up. He was in horrible condition, being burnt in the fire. You can still see flakes of stuff coming off now and blowing away in the wind. But anyway, the reason why I didn't is because, he's got a hole in him. I didn't see that when I first found him, and only just looking at him there before, as I was cleaning him, I thought, bugger, Bugger, never mind, never mind. Anyway, last but not least is another intact bottle, and nothing special. It's just a plain Jane, just an old beer bottle. But what's really cool about these bottles is just how crude they are, and the big kick up in the base. You know, a lot of false advertising there. You know, you thought you were getting, I'll put my thumb sort of where it stops, about there inside. So, you know, you were buying this bottle, that's better. You were buying this bottle thinking you were getting a full bottle of beer, or in actual fact, you're probably only getting 3/4 because of this massive kick up in the bottom of the base. So very cool, very cool. And what I wanted to show you too, I'm just going to sit down, my back is killing me, is basically the crudeness of this bottle. Now look, if I sit this on the table here, look at how crude that base is. It's not flat at all. I mean, there was no quality control back then. This bottle went straight through, and look at the way he stands up. Let's see if I can do this properly with one hand. Yeah, he's on a lean. He's about as sideways as the bloke that would have drank him, I reckon. He's pretty wonky there. Really cool. So I love that sort of stuff, and it actually just goes to show up the top of the bottle there too. Basically the old screw-on blob top. Now they would blow the bottle, make the bottle, and then they would screw these tops on whilst they were still hot. So hence where you get the name blob top or screw top. I think I've mentioned that a few times in my previous videos. So, but yeah, as I said, how crude. And the cruder the bottle, I think the cooler. So anyway guys, that is about a wrap up for me today. We've had a ripper of a day, and as I said, we will be back out there again soon. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe button below. Remember to think lucky, dig clean, and happy hunting. And we will see you next time. Cheers guys, happy hunting.